That scumbag brother of mine spent 105 million telling me to go on a blind date with a rich lady for him. He told me to pretend, to be him and be obedient and listen to the rich lady, completely to win her over. I'll go, but I don't plan on being as pathetic as that brat. Instead, I'll use my own way to meet this beautiful wealthy woman who owns a 35 trillion fortune. As soon as I arrived at the restaurant, I recognized her at first sight. She was sitting by the window, looking down at her phone, her fingers scrolling across the screen swiftly. A delicate little handbag was placed on the table, next to a glass of red wine that looked very expensive. I pulled out a chair and plopped down. She looked up and sized me up from head to toe, from my messy hair to my wrinkled t-shirt, finally stopping at my sneakers, spattered with mud. Her eyebrows furrowed slightly, almost imperceptibly. Are you Jibata? Her voice was a bit cold, like an ice cube dropping into a glass. I nodded without saying anything. The waiter stepped forward and handed me a menu thicker than a brick. I opened it to take a look. I knew all the words on it, but when put together, I had no idea what kind of dishes they were. However, I could see the prices at the end quite clearly. The cheapest soup was over 1 million. I slammed the menu shut with a thud. Give me a bowl of pulled noodles, the 21,000 kind. The waiter was stunned, the professional smile on his face frozen like a piece of plastic. Bai Ningbing sitting opposite me was also dazed. She looked at me, and for the first time her eyes showed a hint of genuine emotion. Not disgust, but confusion. Sir, we don't have pulled noodles here. The waiter's voice was a bit impatient. Fine then. Give me a glass of plain water, make it hot. After saying that, I looked at Bai Ningbing and grinned. Ms. Bai, you're a beautiful and kind soul, so this meal is on you, right? I'm a bit short on cash lately. The atmosphere suddenly fell into silence. Bai Ningbing looked at me, her beautiful eyes narrowing, like a cat preparing to hunt. I could feel my brother screaming in my head. You're dead, you idiot. There goes the 105 million A. But inside, I felt a bit satisfied. Bai Ningbing didn't say anything, just kept staring at me with a gaze so sharp. It was like a scalpel, trying to dissect me from the inside out. I didn't know why, but I just met her gaze head on, picking up the plain water the waiter just brought, and taking a sip. You're not quite like the Jibata I know. She finally spoke, her finger tapping lightly on the table, rhythmically. People change after all. I set the glass down and spoke with total confidence, especially when they run out of money. She seemed to be choked up by that statement of mine. A few seconds later, the corner of her mouth suddenly curled into a smile. How much money do you want, Yi? Here it is, the familiar trope. My brother had warned me repeatedly that if she asked this, I had to act like money was trash and say I came here for love. I cleared my throat. Not much, just enough for this meal. I estimate the dishes you ordered plus that bottle of wine must be around 28 to 35 million, right? I don't want to owe you any favors. Bai Ningbing burst out laughing. You're very interesting. I've seen people who wanted to drain my money, and I've seen those who pretend to be noble. But someone as thick-skinned as you, coming here to mooch, is definitely a first. Mooching isn't shameful. I picked up a napkin on the table to wipe my mouth. What's shameful is having no money but still trying to act cool. She waved her hand, calling the waiter over. Give him a medium rare steak. And while you're at it, open another bottle of Domaine de la Romane Conti. After speaking, she looked at me again. Today's my treat, but I have one question. I gestured for her to go ahead. Finally, who exactly are you? She leaned forward slightly, that pleasant scent wafting over again. Jibata isn't like you. He doesn't have those guts. My heart skipped a beat, exposed already. But I didn't let any of it show on my face. I am Jibata. If you don't believe me, you can check my ID. She shook her head. No need. No matter how well a person disguises themselves, their eyes don't know how to lie. In his eyes, there is only greed and flattery. But in your eyes, she paused, seemingly looking for the right word, is the urge to finish eating and bolt. I couldn't help but laugh. Don't mock me, miss. That's not very kind of you. I'm so hungry my stomach is sticking to my back here. Why wouldn't I want to eat quickly and get out? The steak was served a very large piece, with the bone included. I picked up the knife and fork, clumsily cutting a small piece and putting it in my mouth. The taste was okay, just a bit bland. Aren't you afraid I'll get angry? She raised her wine glass, gently swirling, the red liquid inside, pissing me off. Won't do you any favors. I swallowed the piece of beef, taking a sip of water. I'm scared, but I can't let my stomach stay empty. Besides, what can you do to me? Find someone to beat me up, or make me disappear from this city? I looked at her and said very seriously, Ms. Bai, we're all adults here. You sought out my brother just because he seemed gentle and easy to control. Someone who could satisfy certain special needs of yours, and my brother sought you out only for your money. Everyone is out here selling something. It's just that the products are different. Why pretend to be all innocent and pure? My words were very blunt and quite harsh. I saw her expression gradually turn cold. Do you realize what you're saying? The trace of a smile was gone from her voice, leaving only a bone-chilling coldness. I knew. I continued cutting the steak, eating heartily. Everything I said is the truth, and the truth always hurts. Do you want to die? These words were practically hissed through her teeth. I put down my utensils and wiped my mouth. No. I looked her straight in the eye, emphasizing every word. I just want to live. To live properly without having to please anyone. The two of us just stared each other down, the air thick with the smell of gunpowder. I felt like my 175 million had completely vanished, and I might even get a beating for this. But strangely, I didn't feel panicked. At all, I was even a bit excited. A long time later, she suddenly picked up her phone and dialed a number. Investigate someone for me. Jibata, give me all his documents, including whether he has any brothers. Hanging up the phone, she raised her glass again and took a sip. Now let's play a game. Before my people figure out your background, you'd better come up with a good story to convince me why I shouldn't throw you out of this window. I followed her gaze out the window, falling from the 38th floor. There probably wouldn't even be an intact corpse left. I picked up my water glass and took another sip. Sure, let's talk then. If I tell a good story, can I take this steak to go? Bai Ningbing stared at me in a daze for 3 seconds, then burst out laughing again. This time she laughed even harder than before, almost to the point of tears. Bai Ningbing's phone rang very quickly. She answered, gave a brief acknowledgement, then hung up and looked at me. Gia Bachuang, twin brother of Jibata, an unemployed loafer who lives off odd jobs. Tell me, how much did he pay you to come here and risk your life for him? I stabbed the last piece of steak and popped it into my mouth. Only for 175 million. And you dare to talk to me like that? She raised an eyebrow, seemingly finding this number a bit ridiculous. Why wouldn't I? For love, Ms. Bai. Do you actually believe that? She said nothing more, only staring at me with that scrutinizing gaze. At that moment, there was a sudden commotion at the restaurant entrance. 2 men and a woman walked in. The man leading them wore a flashy, ridiculous white suit, his hair slicked back so shiny. It looked like a cow had just licked it. Ningbing, so you're here, he stepped forward, intending to grab Bai Ningbing's hand, but she skillfully dodged him. His gaze fell on me, filled with undisguised hostility and contempt. This is my friend. Jibata, Bai Ningbing said flatly, but her eyes were fixed on me, seemingly wanting to see how I'd react. Friend, huh? I silently pondered that word. The woman next to the guy in the white suit was wearing heavy makeup and giggled. Ningbing, this friend of yours dresses so simply. Which street did you pick him up from, Hato? As soon as those words came out, all 3 of them burst out laughing. I wasn't angry at all, just felt it was a bit noisy. I picked up my glass of water, took a sip, and then looked at that woman with the heavy makeup. Your nose is crooked. The woman's laughter stopped instantly. She instinctively raised her hand to fix her nose. What nonsense are you talking about? Not nonsense at all. I'm looking at you very seriously right now. The implant in your bridge is a bit off. And your chin, did you get that done too? The angle is a bit weird. I suggest you go get it fixed. Otherwise, when it rains, water might leak in. The heavy makeup woman's face immediately turned beet red. The man next to her also looked visibly upset. Only the guy in the white suit kept his composure, though his gaze had turned cold. You sure talk big, buddy. I wonder what high-end place you work at. On the sidewalk deck. I said honestly, my job is contemplating human life. Bai Ningbing couldn't help but burst out laughing. The guy in the white suit's face went completely stiff. Ningbing, where did you find this weirdo? His tone carried a hint of interrogation. Is this kind of person even worthy of sitting at the same table as you? Bai Ningbing gently swirled her wine glass and said nothing. She's throwing the problem back to me. I stood up, my stature being taller than the guy in the white suit by half a head. I looked down at his slick back hair and said, there's a fly on your head. He was stunned for a moment, where maybe I saw it wrong. I sat back down and picked up my water glass again. It could also be that your head is so shiny it's reflecting light. White suit immediately clenched his fist. You... He pointed at me so angry he was speechless. Young Master Chu, don't get worked up over this kind of person. The other man hurriedly mediated. He looked at me with eyes full of calculation. This brother looks like a fresh face. What big business are you in? To catch Ningbing's eye. You must certainly be no ordinary person. These words were clearly meant to flatter me, just to bring me down. If I had played along and bragged, I would have lost the upper hand immediately. I shook my head. It's no big business. I just help people resolve some issues to earn a bit of hard-earned money. Oh, resolving what? Chu Kai in the white suit started to get interested. He thought he had caught me in a lie. Tell us about it, so we can learn from you on how to please Ningbing. For example, going on a blind date on someone else's behalf. After saying that, I intentionally glanced at Bai Ningbing. Her eyes flickered for a split second, but she quickly regained her calm expression. Chu Kai's face, however, became extremely colorful. A blind date, Ningbing. Chu Kai, Bai Ningbing finally spoke up. Since when was it your turn to manage my business? Her voice wasn't loud, but it was ice cold. If you're full and have nothing better to do, then go run a few laps outside. Don't stand here being an eyesore. Shu Kai's face turned from red to white. He gave me a fierce glare. His gaze looked as if he wanted to eat me alive. Fine. Very well, Bai Ningbing. You're something else. He spat out those bitter words and turned to leave. The other two also hurriedly chased after him. The restaurant regained its quiet atmosphere. You've got some serious balls. Bai Ningbing looked at me, not sure if she was praising or being sarcastic. Mostly because they're just too stupid. Aren't you afraid he'll retaliate? Shu Kai's family is in real estate. They have quite some influence in this area. Of course I am, I sighed. That's why I need to bolt right now. Ms. Bai, is the steak ready to go yet? I'm afraid if I don't leave now, I won't get to leave at all. Bai Ningbing looked at me and suddenly asked a completely unrelated question. Gia Bachuang, do you want to make money? I answered honestly, of course, even in my dreams. Very well. She took out a business card and placed it on the table. Tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Come to this address to find me. I'm very satisfied with your performance today. I have a job that suits you perfectly. After saying that, she turned and left immediately. I stared blankly at that black gold-pressed business card. There was only an address on the card, a surname and a phone number. I picked up the business card, then looked back at the medium rare steak on the table I hadn't finished. The waiter was already approaching with a takeout box. I suddenly felt that tonight's meal might be worth much more than I imagined. I arrived at the meeting place on time. It was Bai Ningbing's company. The receptionist was very beautiful. Seeing me, she flashed a professional smile and asked who I was looking for. I handed over the business card. She took one look at it, and her smile immediately turned respectful. Sir, President Bai is already waiting for you. Please follow me. I followed her through a very large open-plan workspace. Everyone was buried in their work. Keyboard clicking sounds everywhere. But not a single person looked up to glance at me. Bai Ningbing's office was located at the very end. Pushing the door open, Bai Ningbing was sitting behind a giant office desk. She was reviewing some documents and seeing me enter. She pointed to the chair opposite her. Sit. I sat down and sized up her office. It was very spacious and empty. The interior followed cold tones, black, white, and gray, just like her personality. No warmth at all. Want something to drink? She asked without even looking up. Plain water. She pressed the intercom to have someone bring water in, then finally put down the folder in her hand. Did you sleep well last night? It was okay, but the steak I took home was a bit cold. Reheating it in a microwave made it lose its taste. She chuckled at my response. Gia Bachuang, let me be brief. I need a boyfriend. She intentionally emphasized those three words, a boyfriend. I took a sip of water and said nothing, waiting for her to continue. As you saw, annoying pests like Shu Kai are everywhere around me. My family is also constantly pushing, arranging endless boring blind dates. I find it very troublesome. So you need someone to help block these headaches? I finished the sentence for her. Smart, and you are a perfect fit. Why me? Because you're bold, thick-skinned, and you don't play by the rules. Most importantly, there's no greed in your eyes. I've met too many men. When they look at me, their eyes only show dollar signs. But not you. When you look at me, your eyes only show steak. That was a reason I actually couldn't argue with. She continued, what I need you to do is simple. Show up when I need you, act as my boyfriend, and drive away all those guys trying to get close to me. Get rid of them all. In your own way. Sounds like a bodyguard/human shield, huh? You could put it that way. Of course it's not for free. She pulled a contract from her drawer and pushed it toward me. Sign it. Monthly salary is 350 million. In addition, every time you successfully resolve a problem for me, the bonus will be 175 million. A monthly salary of 350 million? I looked at the numbers on the contract and felt my breathing quicken a bit, working odd jobs until I was dead tired for a month at most. I only earned about 17.5 to 21 million. How many bricks would I have to carry to earn 350 million? Like this. Just like that, today I secured a monthly salary of 350 million. A car and a credit card. This world is seriously freaking surreal. Any other questions? Yes, I stood up. President Bai. It's lunchtime now. As your newly appointed boyfriend, can I have lunch with you? I haven't tried your company cafeteria's food yet. Bai Ningbing was stunned. She probably didn't expect that. My first request after taking the job would be asking for a free meal. She stared at me for a few seconds before shaking her head helplessly. Our company doesn't have a cafeteria? Then she picked up the intercom. Xiaolin, order 2 lunch sets from Yunding restaurant and bring them to my office. Hanging up the phone, she looked at me, her eyes filled with the sense of resignation, like, I give up on you. Gia Bachuang, I'm starting to regret this. I feel like I just invited a huge trouble into my life. I smiled. President Bai, don't you worry. I have very high professional ethics. Taking the money and doing the work is only natural. You feed me, and I'll help you drive away the pests. A fair trade. I drove the Mercedes C, Galaxy Gray, which was worth more than my own life, back to the dilapidated apartment complex I was renting. The car was too big while the alleyways were narrow. I had to struggle for quite a while to find a corner to squeeze the car into. Along the way, I attracted countless curious stares from the elderly neighbors. My brother Jibata was crouching in front of the door. Seeing me like I was his savior, he rushed over. Bachuang, where did you go yesterday? I called you, but you didn't pick up. Did you screw everything up? Ms. Bai didn't send someone to chop off your leg, did she? I pulled out my key to open the door, ignoring him. He followed me inside, babbling. With one glance, he saw the designer clothes I tossed on the sofa, printed with logos I didn't even recognize. His eyes widened. Where did you get the money to buy these things? The 105 million you promised me, I already spent it in advance. 105 million can buy all this. He picked up a shirt to check the price tag and took a sharp breath. A single shirt. That costs 10 million. He looked at me like I was an alien. Bachuang, tell me the truth. What exactly did you do yesterday? Did you do something shady with Ms. Bai? I didn't. Is this hush money she gave you? I nearly choked on my water and died. Can't you think of anything normal in that head of yours? She and I are a couple now. A couple? Jibata's mouth hung open wide enough to fit an egg. How is that possible? Weren't you supposed to mess things up with her? With your dirt poor, broke appearance, she actually chose you. She just happens to like my type. Problem say. I was too lazy to explain it to him. Anyway, from now on, I'm her boyfriend. Your chance is gone. Jibata plopped down on the floor, his eyes lifeless. It's over, my goddess. My wealth and luxury all gone. I looked at his pathetic state and gave him a kick. Get up. She's just a woman. Is it really worth all that? No, she's not just a woman. He screamed in my face. She's a mobile ATM, a golden ticket into high society. What the hell do you know? I really don't, I nodded. I pulled the G63 car key from my pocket and jingled it in front of him. I only know about this. Jibata's eyes immediately glued themselves to that key. This is a Mercedes G-Class. His voice was trembling. Bai Ningbing gave it to me. She said it's for me to get around more conveniently. I tossed the keys onto the table. She complained that my previous mode of transportation was too pathetic and didn't suit her. Jibata crawled over to Cherish, the car key in his hand like he was holding a royal decree, turning it over and over to admire it. A G-Wagon. It really is a G-Wagon. Good God, he suddenly looked up, the look in his eyes having completely changed, from contempt to pure worship, even carrying a hint of fanaticism. You really are my flesh and blood brother. He hugged my leg tightly, tears and snot everywhere. Teach me, how exactly did you do it? What kind of love potion did you give her? I pushed him away in disgust. There's no secret to it. I just let her see your true colors, and as a result, she found me a bit more pleasing to the eye than you. Impossible. I wrote poetry for her, sang love songs to her, said good morning and good night every single day without fail. How could she? The poems you wrote were copied from the internet, right? And the love songs you sang were probably so off-key. They drifted to the Pacific. I ruthlessly exposed him. Jibata, your biggest problem is that you're not sincere. The person you love isn't Bai Ningbing. What you love is her money. She's met plenty of people like you. Jibata fell silent, as if I had hit the nail right on the head. What about you? You aren't greedy? For her money. I am. I answered extremely bluntly. But I'm greedy in an honest way. I told her straight up that I'm only after her cash. She also told me straight up that she just needs me to be her human shield. We have a mutual agreement. Each of us gets what we need. Jibata dazed out and looked at me, as if he were meeting me for the first time. Bachuang, you've changed. People all change eventually. I repeated the same line I told Bai Ningbing yesterday, saying it once more, especially when someone is willing to pay you 350 million a month. I patted his shoulder. All right, stop crying. Your brother will cover you from now on. How much are you short right now? Jibata's eyes suddenly lit up. He rubbed his hands and chuckled. Not much. No. I just have my eye on a pair of limited edition sneakers, and it's about time for Xiaoli's handbag to be replaced. I looked at his behavior and shook my head. Truly a simp down to the bone marrow. There's no cure for this. On my third day as Bai Ningbing's boyfriend, I received my first official mission. There's a charity party tonight. Come with me, okay? Bai Ningbing's voice on the phone was very calm. Not going. I was lying on the sofa playing games, about to win. Chukai will be there too. He's been chasing a female celebrity lately, and tonight he plans to propose, publicly right at the party. Oh, then I wish him success. I missed a skill and got counter-killed by my opponent. I don't want him to succeed. That celebrity is an artist my company just signed. She has great potential. I don't want her to be ruined by a piece of trash like Chukai. So what do you want me to do? Crash the proposal or something like that? I want you to take his proposal and mess it up as badly as possible. Make sure both him and that celebrity are so humiliated they'll want to crawl into a hole. Difficulty level is a bit high on this one. I rubbed my chin. Gonna need a bonus. 350 million? Deal. I immediately quit the game. Send me the address. Mission guaranteed. After hanging up, I whistled and went to the closet to pick out an outfit. The designer clothes Bai Ningbing bought for me finally have a chance to shine. That evening, I drove the Mercedes G-Class and arrived on time at the hotel hosting the gala. As I tossed the car keys to the valet, I felt like my life had finally reached its peak. Bai Ningbing was already standing there waiting for me. As soon as she appeared, she became the center of attention in the entire hall. I walked up to her side and naturally linked arms with her. Her body stiffened slightly, but she quickly relaxed. Not bad. You actually look the part. I winked at her. Pure professionalism, all right? As the two of us stepped inside, Chukai's gaze swept over like a spotlight. He was standing with the female star, wearing a white chiffon dress looking very pure. Seeing me linking arms with Bai Ningbing, his face immediately darkened. Ningbing, you actually brought him, bringing my boyfriend to a gala. Is there a problem with that? Chukai's face grew even darker. The female star beside him was named Anqi. She sized me up curiously, with a hint of scrutiny in her eyes. Young Master Chu, is this Sister Ningbing's boyfriend? He's quite a talent. Chukai snorted coldly. A talent. He's just a gigolo living off women. I didn't even bother with him and looked over at Anqi. You're Ms. Anqi? Right, I've seen your movies. Anqi's eyes lit up. Really? Which one? The one where you played a college student kidnapped and sold to the mountains, who eventually falls in love with her kidnapper. Anqi's smile froze on her face. That movie was a stain on her career. She got absolutely roasted by netizens for it. I thought your acting was great. My tone was incredibly sincere. Especially that final scene where you're crying and screaming. Even if he hits me, curses me, and won't let me go, he has given me a home. That part was truly Best Actress level. It portrayed Stockholm Syndrome in such a profound way. And Key's expression, at this point, couldn't even be described as just unpleasant anymore. Bai Ningbing's shoulders were shaking uncontrollably. She was struggling so hard to hold back her laughter. Chukai was so pissed he wanted to hit someone. Damn it, do you even know how to talk, see? Did I say something wrong? I acted innocent. Could it be that? That movie isn't Ms. An's most representative work. I thought this was a form of recognition for her. Acting, though, people around us began to whisper and gossip. Anqi's eyes were already turning red. She looked at Chukai with teary eyes. Kai, he's bullying me. Chukai was heartbroken. He pointed straight at my face. Just you wait. After speaking, he pulled Anqi away. Well done. Bai Ningbing handed me a glass of champagne. The appetizer is over. The main course is about to be served. Are you ready? I clinked glasses with her. The word ready isn't in my dictionary. I prefer to wing it. Halfway through the gala, the MC suddenly used a very excited tone to announce. Next up will be an incredibly romantic moment. The lights dimmed, and a spotlight shone directly onto the center of the stage. Chukai, holding a massive bouquet of roses, knelt on one knee and gazed passionately at Anqi. And Key, meeting you is the luckiest thing in my life. He began reciting lines so cheesy they'd make your teeth fall out. And Key's eyes were moist. Looking so moved, she was speechless. The entire hall went dead silent, preparing to witness this romantic proposal. Bai Ningbing nudged my arm. It's your turn. I nodded, grabbed a plate of cake from the table, and threw it straight at the stage. The plate traced a perfect arc through the air and landed smack on Chukai's head. His slicked back head was now covered in cream and cake crumbs. The entire hall fell into a deadly silence. Everyone was stunned. Under the stage lights, Chukai had a brown piece of tiramisu on his head. Cream dripped down his cheeks and pulled on his nose, looking exactly like bird droppings. The roses in his hands fell to the floor, and the diamond ring prepared for the proposal rolled away to the side. Damn it, who did that? Chukai's roar shattered the deadly silence. I leisurely stood up, still holding a fork in my hand. My bad, my hand slipped. I put on an apologetic face. The plate was too oily, I couldn't get a good grip. Every eye immediately locked onto me. Some were shocked, some confused, and some were clearly enjoying the show. When Chukai saw it was me, his eyes turned bloodshot, looking like a mad bull. It's you, damn it. He pushed through the crowd, rushing at me like a psycho. Security guards scrambled to hold him back. Let go of me, I'm going to kill him. Chukai was still struggling, and he finally snapped out of it and ran over, clutching her dress, pointing at my nose and screaming, you did this on purpose. Why did you ruin Kai's proposal? I really didn't mean to. I looked at her with the most innocent eyes possible. I just thought the way young Master Chu knelt on one knee looked a bit like old man Wang the cobbler, who lives under my apartment. I got too caught up in the moment, and the plate just accidentally flew out. The surrounding crowd heard this and burst into laughter. They pointed and whispered about Chukai and the cake on his head, and Key's face turned beet red from anger, tears welling up in her eyes. You're shameless. Hey, now you can eat whatever you want, but you can't just say whatever you want. I straightened my face. I'm just an innocent bystander enjoying the drama. If you want to blame something, blame your proposal for being too moving. So much that I couldn't contain myself. Or maybe blame the hotel's plates for not being up to standard. Go on. The hotel manager ran over sweating bullets. Mr. Chu, Mr. G, let's talk this out. Talk out my ass. Chukai shoved the manager aside. Either he dies today or I do. Bai Ningbing stepped forward and looked coldly at Chukai. Chukai, have you caused enough of a scene? Ningbing, you're still going to defend him? Chukai's face was full of disbelief. He's done this and you're still taking his side. What kind of love potion did he even give you? He is my boyfriend. Bai Ningbing's tone left no room for doubt. You plan to kill my boyfriend right in front of me. Did you think I'd just stand by and watch? She paused for a moment, her gaze sweeping across the hall. What happened today was just an accident. Anyone who dares to take the story outside and spread rumors shouldn't blame me, Bai Ningbing, for not being polite. Her voice wasn't loud, but it carried a heavy authority that made it impossible to resist. The laughter in the hall gradually died out. Chukai looked at Bai Ningbing and then at me, his expression as disgusted as if he'd swallowed a fly. With Bai Ningbing protecting me, he couldn't touch me today. He hissed through his teeth, we'll just wait and see. After speaking, he brushed the cake off his head, pulled along Unchi, who was still wailing pathetically, and walked straight out without looking back. A grand proposal ceremony had turned into a literal circus. The gala couldn't continue anymore. The guests left in small groups one after another. As they left, they didn't forget to glance back at me, their eyes filled with complex emotions. I followed Bai Ningbing out of the hotel and got into the car. Bai Ningbing handed over a check for 350 million. Your performance today exceeded my expectations. I took the check and whistled. It was mostly because young Master Chu coordinated so well. That head of his was like a bullseye. The sound of the impact was extremely satisfying. Bai Ningbing started the car. She didn't smile, only looking straight ahead. As she suddenly spoke, Gia Bachuang, today you've completely offended Chukai. He won't just let this go. I know, but so what? After all, I have you covering for me. I spoke in a completely reckless tone. Bai Ningbing turned her head to look at me. You trust me that much? If I don't trust you, who can I trust? I tucked the check into my pocket. Right now we're in the same boat. Boat now. If I drown, you're bound to swallow a few gulps of water too. Bai Ningbing remained silent. The car sped along. The night scenery outside the window blurred past. A long time later, I heard her softly curse Gia Bachuang. You really are a lunatic. I proudly replied, thanks for the compliment. After crashing Chukai's proposal, I had a few days of peace and quiet. Every day I drove the G-Wagon to the market for groceries, then stayed home to play games. Life was better than a god's. Jibata visited a few times. Every time he'd ask about me with fake concern subtly, hinting that he wanted me to take him out to see the world, and conveniently leech some money off me. But I kicked him out every single time. Today, while I was playing Chinese chess with old man Zhang in the neighborhood, Bai Ningbing's phone call came in. Come to my house, right now. Her voice sounded more irritated than usual. There's trouble, big trouble. My family is here. I hung up, shouted checkmate to old man Zhang, then took my G-Wagon and sped straight to Bai Ningbing's place. She lived in a high-end villa complex, with security as tight as a military base. I gave them Bai Ningbing's name before the guards let me in. Bai Ningbing's villa was massive, complete with a garden. There was even a swimming pool in the yard. When I walked in, the living room was already packed with people. A middle-aged man who looked very dignified, likely Bai Ningbing's father. A middle-aged woman who had maintained her looks well, constantly sighing and lamenting, likely her mother. Beside them was a young man, about 27 or 28, dressed very sharply, but his eyes gave off a vibe of shrewdness and calculation. Bai Ningbing sat on the sofa, her expression not looking too good. Seeing me enter, everyone's eyes immediately locked onto me. Is he the boyfriend you were talking about? The middle-aged man spoke up. His voice was resonant, carrying the aura of someone used to bossing others around. Bai Ningbing nodded. Mom, Dad. Brother, let me introduce him. This is my boyfriend, Gia Bachuang. I smiled at them, considering it a greeting. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Bai. Hello, brother. Nobody bothered to acknowledge me. Her mother stared me down from head to toe, her gaze like an X-ray. Young man, what does your family do for a living? My parents are ordinary workers, ma'am. They're retired now. Oh, she dragged out the word, the disappointment in her tone completely unconcealed. And where are you currently working? I don't have a job yet. I'm currently unemployed. As soon as these words came out, the atmosphere in the living room turned cold. Her brother let out a cold sneer. An unemployed drifter, Ningbing. Are you kidding me? Out of everyone, you chose this guy for a boyfriend. Bai Yang, watch your mouth. Did I say something wrong? Bai Yang spread his arms. A dirt poor punk with no job and no background. What do you think he's after? Don't you realize that yourself? You've completely disgraced the Bai family name. My business is none of your concern. Seeing the two siblings about to have a major blowout, her father finally spoke up. Everyone shut up. He slammed his hand on the table. The living room fell silent in an instant. He looked at me, his gaze sharp as a hawk's. Gia Bachuang, right? Regardless of who you are, or what tricks you use to get close to my daughter, I'm giving you a choice. He pulled a checkbook from his pocket, scribbled a sequence of numbers, tore it out and tossed it on the table. Here is 3.5 billion. Take it and leave. Never show your face in front of my daughter again. This familiar script again, honestly. Looking at the check on the table, I was tempted. I'd never seen that much money in my entire life. Bai Ningbing's expression was very complex, tense, anxious, and a hint of an emotion I couldn't quite decipher. Everyone in the living room stared at me, waiting for my choice. I picked up the check, and right in front of everyone, tore it in half. Sir, perhaps you've misunderstood. I'm not with Bai Ningbing for the money. Bai Yang acted like he had just heard a hilarious joke. Not for the money. Then what for? For her personality? Don't make me laugh. I've met plenty of people like you. That's right, I nodded, admitting that I was indeed here for her. I turned my head to look at Bai Ningbing, my gaze suddenly becoming incredibly affectionate. I love her. I love her kindness. Her strength, I love everything about her. In my heart, she is priceless. Forget 3.5 billion? Even if it were 35 billion, no. Even 350 billion, it still wouldn't be enough to trade for her. I spoke with such sincerity and passion that even I was starting to believe it. The living room fell into a dead silence. Bai Ningbing's parents and brother all looked at me like I was a mental patient. Only Bai Ningbing kept her head down, making it impossible to see her expression. But I could see her shoulders trembling slightly. I knew she was struggling to hold back her laughter again. Crazy, truly crazy, her mother muttered to herself. Her father's face was now as black as a soot-covered pot. What a fine, not for the money speech. He laughed out of pure anger. I want to see how long you can keep up this act. Starting today, I will lock all of Ningbing's cards. I've also given instructions at the company to freeze all her dividends and shares, so she won't get a single cent. I want to see if a Bai Ningbing with nothing to her name will still be loved by a boyfriend who isn't in it for the money like you. Her mother also hurriedly followed him. Before leaving, she gave me a fierce, aggressive glare. Bai Yang patted my shoulder and lowered his voice. Kid, I gotta hand it to you for having guts, but I suggest you quit while you're ahead. Otherwise, you won't even know how you died. After speaking, he also left. I plopped down on the sofa, letting out a sigh of relief. Job's done. So how was my acting just now? Was it worthy of an Oscar? Bai Ningbing looked up. The corners of her eyes were a bit red, but a smile played on her lips. Gia Bachuang, you've caused me another massive headache? I shrugged. Well, you brought this on yourself. Tell me what's the plan next. Are you really without a single penny now? Pretty much, she nodded, but her expression was very relaxed. But I won't starve. She reached her hand out toward me. Let's go. General, Manager Bai is officially broke. It's up to her, not in it for the money boyfriend you, to take her out for street food. I hesitated for a moment, then took her outstretched hand. Her palm was very warm. After that day, Bai Ningbing truly did go broke. She moved out of her massive villa and into the cramped, dilapidated apartment I was renting. When Jibata saw Bai Ningbing show up at my door pulling a suitcase, his jaw dropped so low it almost hit the floor. What is the meaning of this? I'm bankrupt. Bai Ningbing said it as if it were nothing, like she was just commenting on the nice weather. Then she just casually moved into my room, which only had a single bed, and stayed there while I slept on the sofa. My brother was quite excited at first, thinking his chance had come again. Every day he lingered around my place, serving tea and suckering up to Bai Ningbing. The result was that Bai Ningbing didn't give him the time of day. Those cheesy poems he wrote were treated like scrap paper. By Bai Ningbing and his off-key love songs, Bai Ningbing would just put her headphones on. A few days passed, and Jibata's fragile heart was shattered into pieces. He finally faced reality and slunk away, without the aura of a CEO. Bai Ningbing seemed to become a completely different person. She would wear cartoon pajamas and fight me for the TV remote. If I was too busy gaming to pay attention to her, she'd sneakily unplug my internet cable. And while I was busy cooking, she'd sneak up behind me and steal the cucumbers I just sliced. She was no longer the arrogant ice queen, but more like a cooperative roommate. A roommate who was a bit of a handful but not annoying. That night, I gamed until midnight. I went to the living room to get some water and saw Bai Ningbing sitting alone on the balcony, staring blankly at the night view. I walked over and handed her a beer. Something on your mind? She took the beer and took a sip. Nothing. I just think things are pretty good right now. Good you ended up in this mess with no money, no mansion to live in, and every day you have to squeeze under one roof with an unemployed guy like me. But it's very relaxing. She turned her head to look at me, her eyes sparkling in the dark. I don't have to act anymore. I don't have to deal with annoying people and complicated tasks. It's been years since I could relax like this. She suddenly smiled. Gia Bachuang, you know my father freezing my assets actually didn't affect me at all. He can't touch my private investment firm. I was stunned. Then, why did you move in here? Because I thought it would be interesting. I wanted to see what a guy who keeps saying he's not in it for the money would do when I had nothing left. And the result, the result is you're even more of a jerk than I thought. She gave me a glare. But you're also a bit more reliable than I expected. I didn't say anything, just cracked open a beer and took a sip. The night wind was slightly chilly, blowing over us very pleasantly. Gia Bachuang. She suddenly called my name. Yeah. Let's make this fake relationship real. I spat out the mouthful of beer I was drinking. I coughed violently, my face turning bright red. What did you say? I thought I had misheard her. I said, let's actually be together. She looked at me, her gaze incredibly serious. No acting, no business deal. But being my real boyfriend, I looked at her, my mind going completely blank. I had to admit she was stunning. During the time we spent living together, I had indeed developed some different feelings for her. But it was only a little bit. We were from two different worlds. She was a phoenix in the sky, and I was just a lowly guy. You're drunk. I turned my head away, not daring to look into her eyes. I'm not drunk. I'm very sober. Ji Bakseong, I like you. I like how real you are. I like how you never play by the rules. And I even like the way you troll people. When I'm with you, I finally feel like a living human being, not just a money-making machine. Her words were like a stone thrown into the calm lake of my heart, sending out ripple after ripple. I admit my heart skipped a beat, but logic told me no. The contract between us, and that rule about not being allowed to actually fall for her, was still right there. I took a deep breath to calm myself down. We aren't right for each other. In what way? In every way. You're wealthy, and I'm just a dirt poor nobody. You walk your high road, and I'll take my single log bridge. We belong to two different worlds. Money isn't the problem, but self-respect is. I looked at her and spoke very seriously. Listen, I can pretend to be your boyfriend for money, but I can't actually be your boyfriend for money. If I did that, I would despise myself. Bai Ningbing fell silent. A flash of disappointment flickered in her eyes, but it quickly turned into understanding. I see. Sorry for being so sudden. After speaking, she turned and went back to her room. I sat alone on the balcony, finishing the rest of my beer in one gulp. I felt an immense emptiness inside. The next morning, Bai Ningbing woke up very early. By the time I scrambled up from the sofa, she was already fully dressed, having regained her usual arrogant CEO persona. I have to go back to the company. My father has finally backed down. Thanks for letting me stay here recently. Her tone had returned to the distant and formal way it was at the start. Oh, I replied, feeling a bit uneasy. She stopped at the door. Gia Bachuang, our contract is still in effect. If I need anything, I'll still call you. The pay remains the same. After saying that, she left. The door closed with a click, seemingly shutting out the something that had just begun to sprout between us. Jibata showed up right at mealtime. Seeing that Bai Ningbing wasn't there, his face was full of disappointment. Did the goddess leave? Yeah, I was cooking noodles, not even bothering to look back. He immediately said, I told you. How could a phoenix really stay in a chicken coop? He leaned in and asked slyly, hey, when she left, did she leave you? A breakup fee or something? I scooped out the noodles and poured the sauce over them, ignoring him. What's wrong with you? You look so gloomy. He noticed my unusual mood. Did you fight? No. So you got dumped. I slammed my chopsticks onto the table with a loud thud. Can't you wish for something better for me? Jibata was startled by my sudden outburst and didn't dare say another word. I picked up my bowl and slurped my noodles. The flavor was mid. Just a bit too salty, probably because my tears fell into it. What on earth am I thinking? After finishing the noodles, I told my brother about last night. Jibata listened and stood dazed for a long time. Then he slapped his thigh hard and looked at me like I was a total moron. Ji Bachuang, oh Ji Bachuang, is your brain fried or something? A sugar mommy worth 35 trillion confessed to you, and you actually rejected her. For what? For that pride of yours that isn't worth a cent. You don't understand. I damn sure don't. I only know you just blew 350 billion. He looked like he was in physical pain. All you had to do was nod, and for the rest of your life, no. Even your next life, you wouldn't have a single worry. What are you even concerned about? Whether you're worthy, even she didn't care about that. What the hell do you care for? She doesn't care now. But what about later, once the honeymoon phase is over, she'll realize I'm not on her level. What do I do then? Just wait to be kicked to the curb like a dog. So what if she kicks you to the curb? Jibata argued passionately. Getting dumped by a sugar mommy isn't embarrassing. At least you would have had your moment of glory. But look at you now, clinging to that tattered pride of yours. The end. Result is you're still a broke loser, right? Go back to eating your 21,000 dong noodles then. I was left speechless by his words, because everything he said was the truth. Ji Bachuang, Jibata's voice softened. Listen, I know you're proud, but to survive, you have to face reality. With our background, getting a chance with someone like Bai Ningbing is like a miracle from our ancestors. If you miss it, it's gone. Bata sighed. Think it over carefully. If you figure it out, go apologize and get her back. Being a bit thick-skinned won't kill you. After speaking, he cleared the dishes and took them to the kitchen to wash. I sat in a daze in the living room for a long time. Was he right maybe? But in my deep down, a voice kept telling me that I couldn't do it. I can be poor. I can be useless. but I can't lose my principles. Bai Ningbing and I started with a business transaction. If I agreed to be with her now, then our relationship would forever be stuck under that transaction label. That wasn't what I wanted. My phone buzzed. It was a text from Bai Ningbing, 7 p.m. tonight, at the hotel, where the last charity gala was held. There's a banquet. Jokai will be there too, lately. He's dug up some negative dirt on my company, and plans to expose it at the party. Same old rules. Help me handle it. I looked at the message and gave a bitter laugh. See? Between us, after all, it's still just a transaction. When I arrived at the hotel, Bai Ningbing was already waiting for me at the entrance. She had returned to that cold, arrogant persona. Seeing me, she only gave a slight nod. The atmosphere was a bit awkward. "Let's go," she said, first breaking the silence as she took my arm. Her arm felt very cold. The banquet hall was noisy and bustling. As soon as we walked in, we drew quite a few stairs. The cake incident at the last gala had made me and Bai Ningbing famous in these circles. Joe Kai spotted us too. He was surrounded by a crowd offering toasts. When he saw me, the hatred in his eyes was almost tangible. He held his wine glass and walked toward us. "Well, if it isn't CEO Bai and her kept boyfriend. So did that cake from last time suit your palate?" The people around him burst into loud laughter. "It was all right," I said deadpan. "Just a bit too rich. Next time I suggest you switch to a fruit flavor. For something more refreshing." Joe Kai's face twitched. "Kid, don't get cocky." He leaned close to my ear. "Last time you had Bai Ningbing protecting you. Today I'm going to make sure you can't even stand. Carry you out on a stretcher." "Fine with me," I nodded. "But before I head out, could you let me grab a bite to eat first? I haven't had dinner yet." After saying that, I brushed past him and headed straight for the buffet. Bai Ningbing followed. "Don't mind him. He's basically a rabid dog." "I know." I picked up a plate and sliced a piece of salmon. "How does he plan to target you?" "He bribed one of my company's vice presidents to get a fake financial report. He wants to use this banquet to publicly claim my company is cooking the books, which would tank my stock price." "So where's your company's actual report?" "It's with my assistant, but I can't get in touch with him right now." Bai Ningbing's brows furrowed. "I suspect he might have been detained by Joe Kai's men. So what we need to do now is buy time, and then find your assistant." "Exactly." I stuffed a piece of salmon into my mouth and chewed. "This job is going to cost extra." Bai Ningbing shot me a look, her gaze incredibly complex. 700 million, deal. While we were talking, Joe Kai stepped onto the stage and grabbed the mice, distinguished guests and friends. "Good evening to you all." The room went silent as everyone looked at him. "I stand here today because I want to take this opportunity to expose someone's true colors." He pointed the spearhead directly at Bai Ningbing. "Bai Ningbing, on the outside, you're a glamorous iron lady. But behind the scenes, you're playing dirty by falsifying financial records, defrauding shareholders, and pocketing the profits. Also," he held up a stack of documents in his hand. "I have the latest financial report for your company right here. It clearly states that your company is insolvent and on the verge of bankruptcy." As soon as he said this, the entire hall erupted into a frenzy. Every single eye in the room shifted toward Bai Ningbing. Bai Ningbing's face instantly turned pale. "Joe Kai, you're slandering me? Whether I'm slandering you or not, everyone will see for themselves soon enough." Joe Kai sneered, preparing to project the documents onto the big screen. The situation was critical. I looked at Joe Kai on stage, then at Bai Ningbing, whose hands were ice cold beside me. I knew it was time for me to make a move. I dashed onto the stage at a 100-meter sprint pace, before anyone could even react. I snatched the mic right out of Joe Kai's hand. The eyes of the entire hall shifted to me once again. Joe Kai tried to lung forward to grab the mic back, but I kicked him, sending him flying. I looked at the dense crowd below the stage, cleared my throat and said, "Everyone absolutely do not believe what young Master Joe just said." "Why?" someone from below shouted back. "Because," I took a deep breath and used all my strength to yell at the top of my lungs, "because he has a secret crush on me. He's doing all of this just to get revenge on me. Revenge. Because I stole the woman he loved." Bai Ningbing. His love turned into hate. Since he can't have me, he wants to destroy me. Don't you all think he's a total creep? Everyone was stunned. Joe Kai was also paralyzed with shock. He lay on the ground, pointing his finger at me, his mouth agape for a long time without a single word coming out. I looked at him, and my gaze suddenly became incredibly sorrowful and pitying. "Kai," I said in a heartbreaking tone, "I know you love me, but feelings can't be forced. I already have Ningbing. There is no us. Please just let it go." After speaking, I even gave him a flirtatious wink. Joe Kai's eyes rolled back, and he fainted on the spot from pure rage. Joe Kai was frantically carried away by his people. A carefully planned corporate attack was neutralized by me in an extremely ridiculous way. The banquet, of course, could not continue. Bai Ningbing pulled me under the jaw-dropping stares of everyone and left the scene. As soon as we got in the car, she slumped over the steering wheel light and laughed until her whole body was shaking. Gia Bachuang, you're a literal genius. She laughed so hard she couldn't catch her breath, tears even streaming down her face. How did you come up with such a savage move? It's called giving him a taste of his own medicine. I calmly buckled my seatbelt. Didn't he love throwing shade at me? I just threw a much bigger bucket right back at him, one he'll never be able to wash off. Starting tomorrow, the rumor that the eldest son of the Zhou family has a secret crush on his rival and created a scandal out of spite, this spicy drama will spread all over high society. Zhou Kai won't be able to show his face anywhere, but what about? My assistant Bai Ningbing finally managed to stop laughing, to remember the main issue. Don't worry. I pulled out my phone and called Jibata. Hello bro, I handled it. Was the guy rescued? Safe and sound, not a hair out of place. Those punks guarding him were dealt with in less than 3 minutes. That's right, before I dashed onto the stage. I had already gotten the address, where Bai Ningbing's assistant was being held, and sent it to my brother. My brother might be unreliable normally, but when it comes to fighting, he's the real deal. He used to be quite the street brawler back in the day. Bai Ningbing heard the voice on the phone, and looked at me in shock. When did you do this? Right when you told me the situation. I had it all arranged. I hung up the phone. I was in charge of drawing fire at the front, while my brother handled the flank attack from behind. Splitting our forces in two gave us the best results. Bai Ningbing looked at me, her eyes showing genuine admiration for the first time. Gia Bachuang, I've realized I'm still underestimating you. It's not too late to realize it now. Remember to transfer that 700 million to my card. Also, my brother put in some work this time too, so you should probably give him a little bonus. No problem, right? She started the car, her tone carrying a hint of a smile. I'll give you however much you want. The car drove smoothly through the night. Melodic music played inside the car. Neither of us said anything else, but the atmosphere wasn't as awkward as when we first arrived. After a long while, she suddenly spoke up. Hey Gia Bachuang, thank you. Don't mention it, just doing my job for the pay. She was silent for a moment, then said, not just for today, but also for that time at my house. Thank you for not taking that 3.5 billion. That's just me being an idiot. I laughed mockingly at myself. If it happened now, I'd definitely take the money and run. You wouldn't, she said firmly. You're not that kind of person. I opened my eyes and watched the city lights flashing past the window. I'm not that kind of person. Even I don't know the answer to that. The next day, I became a legend in those circles. Everyone knew that by Bai Ningbing's side there was a man named Gia Bachuang, background unknown, acting recklessly and able to use just his mouth to make the eldest son of the Zhou family faint from rage on the spot. Some said I was a boy toy kept by Bai Ningbing. Some said I was a secret weapon invited by her. Others even claimed that I was actually the heir to some hidden powerful clan, out to experience real life. The rumors got wilder by the day. My brother, Jibata, because of successfully rescuing Boss Bai's assistant, received a 350 million bonus from Bai Ningbing. The way he looks at me now is no different from looking at a god. You're truly the pride of our G family now. He held the money, grinning ear to ear. I'm gonna follow you from now on. Okay, I didn't bother listening to him because I was busy taking calls. My phone was practically exploding. All the callers were from numbers I didn't recognize, but they were all wealthy people. Hello, is this Mr. Gia Bachuang? I'm Boss Lee from Daxian Group. I'd like to ask for your help with something. The price is negotiable. Hello, Mr. G. I'm Mrs. Wang. I suspect my husband is seeing someone else on the side. I want you to step in and help me ruin their little affair. That's when it finally clicked for me. That battle didn't just make me famous. It made me an absolute sensation. It seems I've accidentally unlocked an entirely new business niche. Professional troubleshooter, specializing in helping the rich solve the kind of messes they can't handle personally. I looked at the stream of unknown calls, then at the bank balance showing the 700 million Bai Ningbing had just transferred. I suddenly felt that this dilapidated apartment was starting to look a bit unworthy of my current net worth. I rented a proper office space. It wasn't huge, but the location was prime. I even registered a company with a very simple and direct name, the Trouble Destroyer Consulting Company. On opening day, it was just us two brothers. I'm the CEO and chief troubleshooter of the company. My brother G. Ada is the head of security and the company driver. Bai Ningbing sent a flower basket over. The card read, Grand Opening. May wealth flow in. Signed, your number one client. Hey little bro, is this company of ours really gonna work? Jibata looked around the empty office, feeling a bit nervous. Don't worry. I sat in the newly purchased executive chair and crossed my legs. We're going for the high-end market. We don't need a lot of sales. One big job can feed us for 3 years. As soon as I finished speaking, the office door pushed open. A lady dressed glamorously and dripping in jewelry swayed her way inside. Excuse me, is this the Trouble Destroyer office? Jibata and I looked at each other, both seeing the excitement in each other's eyes. Our first real business deal has arrived. I gestured for her to take a seat. That's right. May I ask what kind of trouble you're facing? The lady sat down and immediately started sobbing her story. My husband is keeping a mistress on the side. That little vixen is barely in her 20s, just a college student. My husband is so obsessed with her, he's lost his mind. He refuses to come home anymore, and is even demanding a divorce. From me. So what exactly do you want us to do? I want that homewrecker's reputation utterly destroyed. Make her leave my husband of her own accord. That's easy enough. I nodded. However, our service fee depends on the complexity of the trouble. Your case falls under the family ethics category. Starting price is 1.75 billion. No problem, as long as you can solve it. Money is no object to me. She paid a 700 million deposit right on the spot. Once we saw the lady out, Jibata excitedly rubbed his hands together. Bro, 1 billion. 750 million, we're gonna be filthy rich. Stay calm, I said, patting his shoulder. This is only the beginning. Go and dig up everything you can on that female student for me. Jibata was working hyper-efficiently now, in just half a day he brought back the files. Her name is Lee. Lee, a student at the Film Academy. She really was quite a beauty. She loved posting selfies on social media, showing off her designer gear to look like a wealthy girl living a peaceful life. So what's the plan, So? Sending people to the school to make a scene is too low tier. I shook my head. To deal with this kind of green tea girl, you have to use magic to defeat magic. I told Jibata to register a new social media account. We used a photo of some random playboy found online as the profile picture, building an image of a mysterious returnee, a second-generation rich kid with a gold mine at home. Then I started using this account to like every single one of Lily's posts. My comments were pure green tea energy. So beautiful. Are you an angel sent from heaven? Tick. Oh, that bag. I just bought one last month for my housemaid. She complained it wasn't good enough. The security at your apartment is trash. Want me to just gift you mansion in the city center? Think of it as a friendship starter. At first, Lily played hard to get and ignored me, but who could withstand my relentless money bombing? I had Jibata enter her live stream and drop gifts worth hundreds of millions. Lily's attitude did a total 180 instantly. She started sliding into my DMs, every word dripping with hidden intentions. I ghosted her for a few days, then asked her out to a high-end hotel cafe. Yeah, it's a hotel cafe. To meet up. Of course, I wasn't the one going. Instead, I hired an actor, a bald old man in his 60s, with a greasy beer belly. I made him wear a rented designer suit, rock a fake gold watch, and hold the phone logged into that young master account. At the meeting spot, Jibata and I sat at another table nearby to watch the show. Lily wore a sexy slip dress, looking flawless, and showed up right on time. When she saw that greasy old man grinning and waving at her, the look on her face was an absolute classic. Are you Long Aocean? Lily's voice was trembling. That's right, baby. The greasy old man squinted and smiled, his wrinkled face revealing a set of yellow teeth. I'm your one and only Aocean. Don't I look even more masculine than my photos? Lily's face turned pale green. She glanced at the old man's wrist, at that shiny fake gold watch, then looked at the designer paper bag, with the huge logo sitting next to him. Her expression twisted like she'd been constipated for 10 days. What's wrong, baby? Don't recognize me. As he spoke, he reached out to grab her hand. Lily yanked her hand back like she'd been electrocuted. Don't you dare touch me. She screamed, you fraud. Weren't you supposed to be a second-generation rich kid? Why do you look like this? I am a rich heir. The old man acted innocent. My dad has over a dozen properties from government buyouts. Baby, don't you worry about being with me. I guarantee you'll be living the high life. Come here. This is the bag I bought for you. It's the latest model. He handed over a high-grade knockoff bag. Lily looked at the bag and then back at the old man, feeling her entire worldview shattered in a devastating blow. If she really went with this old guy, she'd have to face that face every single day. She burst into tears, turned around and bolted without looking back. Jibata and I watched with our jaws dropped. Man, this move of yours is savage. Jibata gave me a thumbs up. This is what you call a precision strike. I took a sip of coffee. What she was after wasn't love in the first place. It was money. I just showed her the ugliest truth that can exist behind money. That's all. That very night, that lady called me up, her tone overflowing with joy. Mr. G, you're a literal god. That little vixen actually demanded a breakup with my husband today. She even returned all the gifts he ever gave her. She said she's going to find true love. The remaining 1.05 billion was quickly transferred into my account. The company's first mission was a perfect success. From then on, our company's reputation grew further and further, and the clients seeking us out became weirder and weirder. Some wanted us to help convince their son to quit his online business and come home to inherit the estate. Some wanted us to help test their fiancé to see if he truly loved them. There was even a star who wanted us to help create some harmless scandal to boost his failing career through notoriety. Jibata and I spent every day dealing with these strange people, and bizarre events, it was exhausting, but also incredibly thrilling. I realized I was practically born for this profession. I could easily see through the weaknesses of human nature and then use the most direct and effective way and the most toxic way to solve their problems. Bai Ningbing became a regular at our company, but she didn't come to me to block romance anymore. It was to deal with a few rivals in the business world. For example, a rival company wanted to poach her core technical team. So I went undercover as a headhunter to approach the person in charge of that team, then painted him a massive pie in the sky, tricking him all the way to Africa to survey a diamond mine project that didn't even exist. By the time he realized he'd been scammed and returned with a pale, defeated face, Bai Ningbing had already stabilized the team. Another time, a competitor intentionally hoarded raw materials, trying to choke out Bai Ningbing's company. So I leaked a rumor saying that type of material was found to contain high levels of carcinogens. Overnight, the entire stockpile that the rival had hoarded was stuck in his hands. He lost everything. My methods got dirtier and dirtier, but my reputation also grew louder and louder within that circle. Many people were terrified of me. They said Gia Bachuang is a literal lunatic, a total demon who isn't afraid to do anything. They're right. I am a lunatic. But I know I'm not a demon. I'm just trouble. A bigger trouble that specializes in solving other troubles. Once the company was on the right track, I treated myself to a vacation. I drove that Mercedes back to my hometown. My parents were shocked when they saw me. They looked at my car, looked at the 10 million dong outfit on my body, and thought I had joined some illegal organization. It took me several days to convince them that their son is now the boss of a legitimate company. Even if the company's business is a bit illegitimate in nature, I bought my family a big house and gave my parents a massive retirement fund. Seeing the happy smiles on their faces, for the first time, I felt like money truly is a great thing. After returning from my hometown, the first thing I did was go find Bai Ningbing. I took the card she had given me, that black card with no password, and returned it to her. "What is this for?" she asked, surprised. "I haven't touched a single cent of the money in here. Now I'm giving it back to you." She looked at the card, then back at me. "What do you mean by this? Are you trying to draw a line between us? Hey, the name Chuang is engraved on this." Looking at her, I felt a bit nervous. My palms were starting to sweat. The company recently took on a new project. What kind of project? A marriage experience. The client is you, and the service provider is me. The service term is for a lifetime. I took a deep breath, dropped down on one knee. The service includes eating meals with you, arguing with you, helping you chase away all nuisances, and always being by your side whenever you need. As for the payment, I paused for a moment, looking straight into her eyes. The payment is you. So, CEO Bai, are you willing to hire me? Bai Ningbing was stunned. In her eyes, there was surprise, emotion, and that familiar amused look that she was trying to suppress. After a long silence, she reached out her hand. "You jerk. Even a proposal sounds like a business deal." I slipped the ring onto her finger. It wasn't too big or too small a perfect fit. And so, Bai Ningbing and I got married. The wedding was very private. Only a few close people were invited. My brother G. Bada served as the best man and cried even more hysterically than I did. Joe Kai didn't show up. Word is, after the incident where his secret crush was exposed, he developed social anxiety and hasn't stepped out of his house for a long time. My company continues to operate, and business is booming more than ever. Troubles come looking for us every day, but I'm not afraid anymore, because by my side I now have someone who can face every trouble with me.